Hey guys, this is Brad from Dallas Geek, and I'm here today with
Lydia Mann.
And we're here talking about your current book that you are promoting. So what is the book's name?
Okay, my book is The Nightmare King,
Okay.
Shadow of Dragons 1.
Okay.
And I publish under my initials, so it's LM Mann, M-A-N-N.
Nice.
You can find me at mannwrites.com. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And my book is an adventure. It's a fantasy adventure for younger readers, 5th, 6th grade reading level.
Awesome.
It's a chapter book, but it's not quite as hard as like Harry Potter.
Sure.
There's a few big words. Brace yourselves. But it's about a brother and a sister who travel to the land of dreams to rescue someone they love from the dungeon of the Nightmare King. And along the way, they're helped by talking animals and a big black dragon named Shadow. And in order to get into the Nightmare King's castle, they have to collect these 3 seals, and they're sort of like amulets, you know? There's the seal of wisdom, the seal of courage, and the seal of invisibility, and they act as keys to get into the Nightmare King's castle.
Okay.
So there's a test that you have to pass in order to, achieve the seal.
Sure.
And so in that, don't tell the kids, there's, some life lessons.
Sure.
That we are smarter than we think we are.
Sure.
We're braver than we think we are. That sort of thing. We can think outside the box. I've had a lot of fun with these characters. The character Shadow the Dragon is this character who's been with me for over 20 years. And writers, they identify with that. It's like, for some reason you have a character that lives in your head and you're like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this, but one of these days. And originally this started as a short story for my niece and nephew when they were little.
Okay.
Because I wanted to, first of all, I wanted to tell them a fun story, but then also I wanted to communicate some of those life lessons.
Sure.
Without saying, hey kids, this is a life lesson.
Sure, yeah.
And so they actually are the stars of the book. And since I published it, I changed it to their middle names. So, so if they want to tell everybody that they know, hey, I'm the star of this book, they can. Or if they just want to be a little incognito, then,
Very nice. So, just based on the main points of the story, would you say this falls more in line with a Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe style story, or more of a Dungeons and Dragons style fantasy?
I would say more Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe type story.
It. Okay.
In fact, C.S. Lewis is one of my heroes.
Nice.
Love the Narnia series. I think that having read the Narnia series, having read Madeline L'Engle, all of that growing up, I think that probably planted some of these seeds that then came out in this story. And then also, when I was younger, I was a huge horse kid. Mm-hmm. And if you are a horse kid, you'll know what I'm talking about. When I was in the 5th grade, if the book didn't have a horse in it, I didn't want to read it.
Sure.
Yeah, so there will be some horse stories coming, but there's not a big horse in The Nightmare King.
Okay.
But it may show up in the sequel.
Very nice. You said that this is a character or character set that you've been really wanting to be able to put down on paper for a while, and you're finally able to. And as you said, there is a sequel intended. Is this something that you already have a full series kind of roughly planned out for, or is it kind of you have a general progression of stories that may or may not necessarily have an end in sight?
I think it's more the first. I think it's I have 2 sequels. One is about halfway written, and then I have the sort of general idea for the 3rd book. Okay. In this book, the character that the kids are going to rescue her name's Maggie, and she and Shadow the dragon have been friends for a long time. And so I've had readers tell me, hey, we want to know the backstory of how Shadow and Maggie met. So when I was originally planning this, I thought, okay, it'll be a 3-book trilogy, and I'll start on here's number 1. Well, I think I'm going to do that Star Wars thing, they kind of jump backwards. Yep. So at some point, there'll be a book 0.
Nice.
That will kind of tell the backstory of how Shadow and Maggie met.
Yeah, I know that whenever you're going into the realm of fantasy or sci-fi and you start really building up this world, it can be so easy to start seeing these ancillary stories and realizing there's a whole bit of development that you can do for that too. I mean, just look at like say the Dune franchise, where it started off with the main three, but then you had the side stories and the continuations of the side stories and the continuations of the original, and then it can have so much more to it the more you keep delving into these little side paths that just expand.
Yeah, and once you build the world, you do get to play in it. So, you know, there may be more books out there. I mean, you know, who knows? There might be one where I actually tell the story of the Nightmare King, how he became the Nightmare King.
Sure.
You know, who knows? I'm also working on an illustrated children's book for little kids.
Okay.
I've written a story, and I've just made a connection with a really great illustrator, so hopefully that's going to work out, so everybody cross your fingers. But it's about magic cats. And they're,
nice.
Yes. Ramses and Tut are magic cats. They live with a woman who's fond of cats. So it's a rhyming book for younger readers. And Ramses and Tut get into all kinds of mischief, and at some point they borrow their parents' car and like go get pizza. And so they're mischievous, they're kind of naughty, but they're not mean or anything. And so I think little kids who are just kind of getting into that reading thing are gonna enjoy it because, you know, they're like the wink wink.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, any books that can have any kind of fanciful take with cats, my wife absolutely goes for. Okay. So like that's just cool to hear.
Well, you know, I'm a pet parent to 2 dogs and 4 cats. Nice. So I'm not a hoarder, I promise. I've always been an animal person.
Sure.
And so, you know, it's just natural for me that I'm gonna have animals that do things. And, you know.
And I mean, especially when you're talking like illustrated books, animals just kind of lend so well to that. It's a lot more fun to be able to play with that visually, and then the visuals can work on storytelling for more. So, that's great.
So, you know, we'll see what happens with the younger audience, and continue to work on the older audience. And then eventually there'll be some summer camp books.
Okay. Because
I work in video, and I have made videos for summer camps for a long time. 30 years. I started when I was very young. I was a very talented toddler. So I love summer camp. It's one of those experiences I think every kid should have. And of course, with my love of animals and horses and all of that, naturally, I think there's going to be some summer camp stories eventually. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff up here floating around that just needs to get on paper first.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Sure. Well, Lydia, thank you so much for your time. And for those of you out there that are interested in checking out her book, the link will be down in the description. And so until next time, this is Brad from Dallas Geek saying, see ya.